We're asking the participants in the Occupy LA encampment to begin to pack their belongings and to leave City Hall Park in an orderly manner. I'm proud of the fact that this has been a peaceful, nonviolent protest. It has been peaceful because we decided to do things differently here in Los Angeles. We've not stared each other down across barricades and barbed wire. From the start, we've talked with one another and we've listened to each other. I trust that we can manage the closure of City Hall Park in the same spirit of cooperation. Now, we've worked hard and will continue to work hard to ensure that this chapter will be known as the peaceful, nonviolent event that reminded our city of these essential truths. We cannot and we must not neglect.
Finally, new rule, Republicans have to stop calling the Wall Street protesters hippies. Yes, they're peeing outdoors and having sex in sleeping bags, or as Bristol Palin calls it, dating. But they're not hippies. The hippies are all gone. Woodstock was 42 years ago. Forget the brown acid. The people who were at Woodstock are now taking the blue Viagra. Turn on, tune in, drop out refers to their hearing aids. Wavy Gravy is 75 years old. He's making wavy gravy in his pants. Now, last Saturday, I was in our nation's capital, and I had the chance to see for myself what was going on when I visited Occupy D.C. Everyone was extraordinarily well behaved, and contrary to reports, I was not offered a single marijuana cigarette. And I'm a little insulted. All right, someone did give me a magic mushroom, and it did blow my mind, and I thank you, Senator McConnell. And sorry about your eyebrows. I'm sure they'll grow back. Anyway, the next morning when I woke up bloody and naked in the woods, I had a revelation. Of course conservatives want to make this about hippies because they like to live in the past. Rush Limbaugh, who really is too square to be a drug addict, said, when the free drugs run out, when the free sex runs out, they'll get bored and move on to something else. Oh, that's right, Grandpa. Look at them, strumming their sitars and wearing dungarees. Whatever happened to the good old days of segregation and date rape? But I get it. You're bitter because we fought a culture war in the 60s and the right lost. Rick Santorum is like that Japanese soldier on the island who doesn't know the war is over. So he's still fighting against birth control and butt sex. Plus, Republicans are now mostly a Southern party, and if there's one thing Southerners don't do well, it's lose a war and get over it. But that war is indeed over. The ideals of the youth movement became assimilated into American society. That's why we have gays in the military now and prenatal yoga classes and tofurkey. And that's why Rick Santorum will never be president and a black guy who snorted cocaine is. It's also why there's not going to be a repeat of what happened the last time the hippies were in the streets. Those hard hats that you're depending on to turn against the lousy hippies. Here's what they're doing now. They're cheering them on. Because now the hard hats are just as broke as everybody else. These people down there, they're not the counterculture. They're the culture. They don't want... They don't want free love. They want paid employment. They don't hate capitalism. They hate what's been done to it. And they resent the Republican mantra that the market perfectly rewards the hardworking and punishes the lazy, and the poor are just jealous mooches who want a handout. Yeah, Because if there's one group of people who hate handouts, it's Wall Street.
Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Spread your leg.
Why am I being arrested? Why am I being arrested?
What's the charge?
What's the charge? Tell me my rights and what is my charge? Tell me my rights and what is my charge?
He's under arrest. Read him his rights.
Read me my rights if I'm under arrest. Before you put those on, tell me my charge.
Tell him you're going to sue
You better
him.
tell me my charge.
Tell him you're going to sue him.
What is my charge? What is my charge? What is my charge? What rights am I breaking? What am I breaking? What's the rules here? What? My name is Brandon Altman. I'm being arrested for I don't know why.
They broke the rules.
What are you
They broke the rules. Police broke the rules.
They're not telling me. Hey, if everybody wants to move in,
Step back, sir.
this is our rights. This is our time. We have to move in. They're not telling our rights. This is our time.
For the last 9 years.
Use your hands, brother. Like
Y'all been beating us down for 9 years. For nothing we didn't do. You go harass those crooks up there. They the crooks. We put y'all in there for help. When we call for help, you don't come. But you help the crooks. What about us? Arrest them for our torture. We the people of America that put y'all in there. We voted that we can vote them out. Y'all supposed to stand for it, not against us. When we hurt, where y'all at when we need it? Go tell them to come down here and talk to us. Do that for us. And let's get this right. Tell them to be a man to stay here. Please.
Life's been kind while it tastes like wine. I feel so high like I'm on cloud nine for the first time in a long time. For the first time in a long time. For the first time in a long time. For the first time in a long time.
So let me get back to this hippie thing because the blowback started with the 53%, but this sign was in the window. I think this was the Chicago Stock Exchange. Look at this. We are the 1%. The 1% now are getting pissed off. And they have some slogans and placards of their own. We spotted in the crowd. Would you like to see them? These are the 1% signs. If you think war's not good for living things, you should see what rain does to teak lawn chairs. You can't go home again. No, seriously, you can't. I just foreclosed it. support our Trumps. Not our Trumps. What do we want? Higher thread count. When do we want it? Before 4:30. I make all the voting machines. More blood for oil. Oh, come on. That's wrong. Glad I invested in that store. Oh, they're cruel, these top 1% people. Before I left my office, I shit on your 401k. And my favorite, you missed a spot. All right, let's bring out Penn. He is the talking half of Penn and...
This is the place I'm supposed to be at this moment, at this time in our history, at this time in the history of the world. I want you to meet my family here. This is my family. These are my brothers and sisters right here. These are the ones who bear the brunt of what has happened with the bailouts, who bear the brunt of what has happened with this extraordinary depletion of people's ability to make a living. They're the ones who are standing here. They're the ones whose backs that we all stand on. Remember that. They're the ones right here. As we take here, we talk about this moment. This moment has to realize itself in a movement that just doesn't happen with an occupation, a movement that has to be organized. As the great labor leader, A. Philip Randolph said once, we have to organize to change what is happening in our lives. And that's what we have to do. We have to take this moment, this extraordinary moment, which is happening with 477 cities in the world. Take this moment. Right here, you're not alone in this. We're not alone in this. Remember, you represent the 16.5 million people, 15.5% of those who are unemployed and underemployed. You represent the 88% of workers who are not represented by a union. That's what's happening in this country. That's what's happening. That's what you represent. You represent the homeless men and women. You represent those who've been dispossessed, those who have been taken out and removed from the system. You represent those brothers in jail who are on strike. right hunger strike right now. You represent them. Remember, you represent Troy Davis. You're a part of this. So when we build a movement, we just can't build a movement for one part of the situation. We have to change the whole part of the situation. We have to change those one. We have to not only march right here. We not only have to organize and occupy, but we also have to say to D.C. and that administration in D.C. that jobs plan, that job program is inadequate. It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't do anything but create false hope. We're tired of false hope. We went in 2008, we came young people like yourself, people who have been all the time working and struggling, figuring that they had some chance to change, some real chance for hope. We were fooled. We know that right now, they're listening to you right now. They see that business will not happen as usual. We cannot have business happen as usual. You understand that? So we have to stand up. We have to stand up as our brothers and sisters have stood up in Haiti. We have to stand up as our brothers and sisters have stood up in other places. Yes. They have to stand up in Tahrir Square, wherever it's in Egypt, wherever they stood up. We have to stand up with them. And knowing that we are part of that same voice that's happening with men and women on the streets of Greece, in Spain, and other places. We're part of that voice. And we will not accept anything less than a change, a real change, a change to the future. We have to stand up for not only who we are right now and where we are right now.
Spent a little time out in Malibu. I spent quite a bit down in Nashville too. Cause I like the beach and loves to honky-tonk. But the place that I call home is where I never have to feel alone. It's the place where I was raised and I was born. And the grass don't get much greener, and life can't get no sweeter. I got a funny cigarette and a $2 bottle of wine. And there's no need for new beginnings, more money or window trimmings. And if the good Lord's willing, I'ma keep on chillin', refilling and flying high. In an old lawn chair with an ice cold beer, got nowhere to go, no place I'd rather be. Yeah, the grass don't get much greener, and life can't get no sweeter. And if the good Lord's willing, I'ma keep on chillin', refilling and flying high. What's that?
Traveled on yachts through the south of France. Think I even got a pair of Versace pants. All that makes me feel is like a fool. Cause a pontoon boat
And a bottle of beer,
a couple good friends
and some cut off jeans
has made us realize you can't buy cool. And the grass don't get much greener, and life can't get no sweeter. I got a funny cigarette and a $2 bottle of wine.
What do you think we
could do right now to really get Americans out on the street and to join this movement? What would you say to Americans who are going to be watching this on YouTube at this point in time, and the situation that we're in and the possibilities of this movement?
Well, I think you're doing it. That's the most important thing, is what you're doing. You just keep doing it. It sends a real message, I think, that people are in the streets, because it's the only other way to get your voice heard if you don't play the game the way it's been played, with lobbyists, congressmen who are too much influenced by lobbyists, corporate money that influences the politicians. This is really the only alternative, so don't let them convince you to come inside, put on a suit, and hire a lobbyist. That's how you lose. This is how you win. So my congratulations to you.
Based on where we're at today, what do you think the chances are of this movement really forming a solid foundation which will help this country and the world kind of restore democracy kind of as we hope it to be?
I say the odds are 99 to 1 that it'll happen.
Those are pretty good odds.
They are good odds. I'm for democracy.
Oh my God, he's so handsome.
I'm for democracy.
So have we ever had a true democratic system in this country?
You'd have to ask a historian, but I think it used to be more democratic. It certainly used to be more fair. All modern societies that work, I'm thinking of governments in Europe that function more smoothly than ours, that take care of those citizens, they're a hybrid of capitalism and socialism. Obviously, America is also. We are full of socialist entities in this country. Even the tea baggers don't want to get rid of Social Security. They want their Medicare. They want their farm subsidies. They want their mortgages through the government. The bankers, they certainly take more handouts than anybody.
Yes. What would you say to the people? How do we rally them, truly get them off their couch, away from the TV, away from American Idol, and out on the streets?
Right.
As far as building soil, that's another thing. You're really watching them hard.
Well, I think that's happening. You know, I think people are just fed up. And look, Americans love convenience. It's very hard to dissuade them from the sops they are thrown by corporate America. But when it gets to this point, and of course your allies in this are your enemies, the big business people who keep making life worse and worse for the regular citizens in this country, and it takes a lot, you're right, to get them off the couch. But at a certain point, like the movie said, they're going to stand up and say, I'm fed up, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, and you've built it, so congratulations.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming down. We really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I stand out, but I ain't never had to take a handout. And if the good Lord's willing, I'ma keep on chilling, refilling and flying high.
Creepiest thing I've ever seen. There's another plane going.
You gonna wear that? You know you gonna drink that? Like a deer in headlights, I stood frozen in my tracks. In the weight of the news, it nearly broke my back. It was late September, and I remember oh so well. Put a rose in the Bible and placed it upon my shelf. And now when it rains,